Do you think he felt like, just based on look alone, hey, this could be my next Hulk Hogan?
Of course. Absolutely. I think it was Vince at one time fully believed that Lex Luger would be his next Hogan. And the issue there is that, I will tell you, I thought Lex was a lot better athlete than Hogan, but he didn't have Hogan's charisma. Whether we like Hogan or you don't like Hogan, or he was never a great worker and all that stuff. What is a great worker, Conrad? What the
Right.
fuck is a great worker? He applies the headlock correctly. He doesn't leg slap, or is it somebody that draws money? Well, if it's on somebody that draws money, it's that one key component. How do you say Hogan wasn't a great worker? He drew money. He pulled the wagon. And ask any of those cats on the cards back in the day, or some WWF at the time, what card do you want to be on? I want to be on Hogan's card. They get their booking sheets. What's the first thing to look for? Look for where's Hogan booked, and now am I on that card, because we know it's going to draw. So I think that was the issue with Lex, that charisma thing. And that's not a sin, by the way. I'm not knocking the guy. I mean, there's a lot of guys that didn't have Hogan's charisma. Few did, as a matter of fact. But I do think Vince fully believed that Lex had all the attributes as far as athleticism, primarily the look, and he was, could be articulate. He was a little different. He's a departure from Hulk, but I think that was the mindset. We may have our next Hogan, and so that journey began.
I'm just fascinated by that.
I swear, man, when it comes to pro wrestling, it's like, where are the real men at? It's like they are gone. It's like once the Attitude Era ended, all the real men just left wrestling. I swear social media has really hurt pro wrestling in a bad way. It has really brainwashed people. And it has created too many SJWs in pro wrestling, either on the fan side and on the other side of pro wrestling. Let me tell you, bitch, how important a nigga's voice is when it comes to professional motherfucking wrestling. Okay? Bruce Pritchard said the same thing on his podcast. A strong voice is very important, because if your voice don't match your appearance, nigga, you fucking screwed. Unless you were Mike Tyson or Brock Lesnar. You can't get away with a bad voice and look like you are not a fucking badass. Mike Tyson has a high-pitched voice, but guess what? He can fuck you up. So he gets a hall pass. He's a draw because he is real. He is legit. Brock Lesnar has a high-pitched voice. We don't care because he's a killer. He can fuck you up. He's from fucking Mars. He is not of our species. Okay? He's different. When it comes to pro wrestling as a male wrestler, if you got a voice that is not attractive, that doesn't command your attention, you are screwed. You will be in catering. Okay? You will be in catering, just like fucking Ricochet. How dare you defend this guy's voice to me? How fucking dare you, man? Like, seriously. Like, how dare you defend this guy's voice? It's like, can you imagine if Rick Rude talked like that? Can you imagine If Stone Cold Steve Austin talked like that, where would the wrestling business be at right now? Did you know, when it comes to wrestling in the late 90s, it was dying before Stone Cold became Stone Cold. It was dying. Okay? The sport of wrestling was dying. He fucking brought it back. What if he talked with a femme voice, right? What if Stone Cold talked with a fucking feminine voice? Would we take him seriously? Don't you think he would be at a fucking disadvantage? Don't you think The Rock would be at a disadvantage if he talked like a feminine guy? Your voice in pro wrestling is very important. Jim Cornette says it all the time. He says, this guy talks like a grown adult. He talks like a grown man. Jim Cornette's number one flaw about Keith Lee was he talked like a fucking math professor in college. You can't talk like that and be a main eventer, man. You can't talk like Fraser Crane and be a main eventer. Jim Cornette said it. So how you gonna debate him? He's been in wrestling before you was fucking born, before I was born. So anything he tells me, I'm gonna fucking listen to. He was arrested before I was born. Who am I not to take his advice? Huh? It's like, nigga, your voice is important, especially in podcasting, YouTube, and in promos in wrestling. It's important. If you want niggas to take you fucking seriously. It's like, nigga, if you got a annoying voice, my nigga, I'm not gonna listen to your videos, man. I'm not gonna follow you. I'm not gonna take you seriously. I'm gonna click off the motherfucking video. It's like there's this one guy who talks wrestling who has I think he has dreadlocks. Now, I could be talking about any guy on YouTube. There's a lot of niggas with dreadlocks who talk wrestling. Okay, so you don't know who I'm talking about. But this one nigga who I'm talking about, who has dreadlocks, who talks wrestling, I can't stand his voice. I can't stand his voice, man. How can you tolerate a nigga who talks with a high-pitched, squeaky-ass voice? He talks exactly like Ricochet. Now, can you imagine if he was in wrestling, would you take him seriously in fucking promos? I wouldn't. I sure as hell wouldn't. And your ass got idiot saying, well, Priest is not a good promo. That's not the fucking point. He has a grown man voice. His voice matches how he looks. This is wrestling where you have to have a suspension of disbelief. Ricochet is down bad. The fact that he don't look like a badass and he talks like that, that's why he's in catering. Let's talk about Mike Tyson. Bruce Prichard talked about Mike Tyson. He said, when you talk to Tyson on the phone, you think you can beat him up, right? But when you see him in person, yeah, that's a different story. Which means he can get away with talking like that. That's the point I'm trying to make. Wrestling is all about your appearance. That's the point I'm trying to make. It's all about your appearance. It's a work. Get it? It's a work. I'm working you into buying tickets to watch me wrestle. Hogan is the biggest draw of all time. Why? Because of his voice, his appearance drew you to his matches. Even though he wasn't a great wrestler in the ring, that was not the point. Hogan might go down as the greatest worker of all time. I bet people are saying, hold on, no, a worker. He wasn't great in the ring. That don't matter. That's not what a worker is. That's work rate shit. What you do in the ring, that's called work rate shit. That don't draw any fucking way. If work rate drew, Omega and AEW will be drawing 2 million viewers per Dynamite, but they don't. Work rate is overrated. You gotta talk me into the fucking building to buy tickets, man. You gotta have your character convince me to buy tickets to watch you wrestle. That's what Hogan did. Rick Rude, Austin, Stone Cold, Taker. Those guys demanded your attention based on their voice. Look at fucking Scott Steiner. Look at Braun Breaker. Every comment I see of Braun Breaker, niggas say he sounds like Scott Steiner. You know why? Because Scott Steiner demands your attention with his fucking voice. I demand your attention with my fucking voice. Now, do I? That's why you're fucking watching me. My voice attracts your fucking attention. Now, does it? I don't sound like a fucking pussy. How the hell you ass gonna be a main eventer and you don't look tough and your voice don't sound tough? Nigga, you gonna be in catering with Ricochet. Okay? Your voice is important. That's all I'm saying. This is wrestling. Everything is a work. You are pretending to be somebody that you are not. That's the point I'm trying to make. Why the hell am I going to take you seriously if you talk like Ricochet? So, can you imagine Ricochet in a battle on promos with Stone Cold or John Cena? How would he do? And would you watch that main event? John Cena versus Ricochet. Would you watch that main event? Do you know why John Cena, Roman Reigns was so captivating? Because those were 2 grown-ass men talking who demanded your attention. They drew you to their match. Those 2 were the reasons that SummerSlam sold the fuck out. That's all I'm saying. Even Jim Ross said it. Being the best worker, it has nothing to do with you doing flips and kicks and dives and fucking knee slaps. It's about what your character is all about. It's about your cadence, how you speak, how you talk, your voice. Hogan's voice drew your attention. He was a fucking alpha male. Alpha males draw you to the fucking product, not beta males. I'm sorry. I can't take Ricochet seriously. He talks like a fucking beta male. Guess what? I would say it to his face. Nigga, I'm from Compton, California. I'm 6 feet, damn near 200 pounds. I would say it to his fucking face, so don't give me that shit. Nigga, I'll say it to his face. I'm from Compton, nigga. I'll say it to his face. But the point I'm trying to make is, your voice in professional wrestling is very important, man. It makes you money. Wait, what part of that don't you understand? Look, man, take your SJW bullshit off my channel, man. Seriously. Go somewhere else. How about you go follow that nigga with the fucking dreadlocks who talks like a fucking femme? How about you go follow his ass? Because I can't stand his voice. His voice makes me want to punch his lights out. I'm so serious. I can't stand his voice. Especially when he tries to get mad. It's like, bruh, you ain't about that life. So just stop it. But anyway, that's not the point I'm trying to make. The point I'm trying to make is, what makes a draw is not about your work rate. It's about you as a worker. Being a worker has nothing to do with your wrestling skills. Stone Cold was a great worker. He worked you into the building, did he? His matches didn't work you. His character, his voice, his promos, that worked you into the building. That's what a work is. That's what being a worker is. My character is working you into the building. You see what I'm saying? The Rock, he worked you into the building. Brian Pillman, he worked you. Go back and watch that promo of Pillman up in the ECW. There was a sign in the crowd that said, Pillman, don't work me. Because Pillman was a great worker. That's what a worker is. Your talking ability, your voice. Pillman had a great voice that grabbed your attention. Pillman wouldn't be over if he talked like a fucking pussy. If he talked like a fucking film. Just imagine Pillman talking like a passive femme. I wouldn't fuck with him. Sting talks like a grown man. The Warrior talks like a grown man. Goldberg talks like a grown fucking man. If I'm gonna buy tickets, I want to watch two alpha males wrestling. Why do you think Ricochet got squashed against Brock Lesnar in Saudi Arabia? Why do you think he got squashed? Do you honestly believe he had a chance against Brock Lesnar? Seriously. Now, how come Finn Balor got offense in on Brock? Because Balor talks like a grown man. You know what I'm saying? I take his character more seriously than fucking Ricochet. Let that sink in. That's the point I'm trying to motherfucking make. I got niggas like Jim Ross, Bruce Pritchard, Jim Cornette saying the same thing I'm telling you. How about you go shit on them? I'm giving you facts. I ain't hating. I have no problem with Ricochet as a person, but as a wrestler, he ain't that guy. He ain't no main eventer. He is where he should be. See, he's in the big leagues. In the big leagues, he's a low card, he's a mid card, low card guy. But in AEW, man, he would be a fucking main eventer because they don't care about being a worker. They don't care about characters, your voice, your promo. Care. If they did, MJF would be in the main events, but that nigga not. They book him as a sideshow character. That's all. They only book work rate wrestlers in the main events, and that's the problem with AEW. That's why they would never reach 2 million viewers, because they focus on their little niche audience that would never grow. You see, the WWE is the big leagues. Look, AEW is nothing more than an indie company on a high-ass budget. That's all. And the fact that fucking Ricochet is really a clone of Dante Martin, let that sink in, man. How sad is that? They are the same guy. What's so special about the both of them? They do the same shit. And that's why wrestling is in the fucking toilet right now. There's too many fucking interchangeable guys. That's all, man. Now do you know what a worker is? John Cena, he's a worker. Okay? Omega is not a worker. Okay? Evan Bourne is not a worker. Ricochet is not a worker. Fucking Reigns is a worker. Goldberg is a worker. See what I'm saying? Now you know the difference between what a worker is and a work rate guy is. Johnny Gargano is a work rate guy. He's not a worker. Cameron Grimes is a worker. L.A. Knight is a worker, not a work rate guy. Let's talk about Killer Cross. Killer Cross, he's a worker, not a work rate guy. Finn Balor is a work rate guy, not a worker, because he would never be a draw based on his character. That's what I mean. That's what makes a worker. Your matches don't make you a draw. If that's the case, the cruiserweights back in WCW would have been main eventing over Goldberg. Guess what? They fucking wasn't. Well, part of that, don't you fucking understand? And to say that WCW, they had the best matches in terms of with the fucking cruiserweights, that don't count. That's like saying Ali versus Ricochet would be the best match on the card on Raw. Yes, it would, but what does that matter? What does it mean? It would never be the fucking main event. That's not why people pay to go watch the fucking show. Nobody pays their hard-earned money to watch high-flying mid-card matches. No. They pay to watch Roman Reigns, dudes like that, the real draws, the characters who are the face of the show. Look, man, the fucking storylines are the face of the show, not the matches. It was never about the matches. Nobody cares. Nigga, go watch ROH. Go watch AEW. If you want matches, go watch ROH. They have no storylines over there. It's just wrestling. Just go watch that. That's all I'm saying, nigga. Go watch that. That's all. I'm done. You know what? I'm not done yet. Let's talk about JR. In his first year in AEW, he was a great commentator. You know why? Because he was burying all of their matches. He was burying all the pointless, work rate, bullshit, knee slap matches. He was burying all of it. You know why? Because he's old school. JR is old school. He knows what wrestling is. He knows that ain't wrestling. But they are paying him good money, so he has to lie. You know what I'm saying? Because they are sensitive SJW crybabies over there. All he said was Orton was the best in the world. And you had Omega, who was supposed to be the face of the company, crying like a little bitch. That he said that? What top guy does that? That's like what if Steve Austin did that? What if Steve Austin was crying because somebody said that Goldberg was the best in the world? Nigga, Austin didn't care about that. All he cared about was drawing and making money. This is JR. He used to be great on commentary in AEW, but now he sucks now because he has to lie, and it's obvious he's lying. Jim Ross hates work rate matches. Come on, man. Jim Ross didn't like Omega versus Bryan Danielson. Jim Ross ain't into that bullshit. He ain't into fucking hour-long matches that don't mean nothing. He has to lie. Just like how he lied and said that the AEW roster stacks up against the Ruthless Aggression era. It stacks up against the Attitude era. That's what he said. Come on, man. Come on, man. That's a lie. We know he's lying. They told him to lie. He has to lie and he has to tote the line. He can't bury matches no more. He can't bury their wrestlers anymore. But go listen to his podcast. He tells the truth on his podcast, though. He does bury them on his podcast without actually saying their names, without actually mentioning his company. But he's on a gag order. He can't talk shit on commentary about AEW. He can't bury the match. That's why the fucking booth sucks now. That's why his commentary sucks, because he's lying on fucking commentary. He's fucking lying. He don't mean what he says. He thinks all of the matches are boring. Jim Ross don't like work rate matches. He likes character-driven story arc matches. But I'm done.